Great sustainable change. Jeff's upcoming new book, En Masse. Let go of what you're supposed to be and unleash your true leader. Motivational
My husband just started a new business, and I wanted him to get involved in this too.
Just
Go on our website, read about it, and
Okay.
sign up for our newsletter and see what other events are.
Let's give Jeff a big hand.
I wanted to hear Jeff speak.
Okay. Just thought I'd swing by. I have to pick one up at 3 o'clock at school, so.
Oh, okay.
But say hi to Tyler.
So I'm probably the oddball today, because most of the folks who've been talking today have come up and talked about their long history with Christ, their long history of living Christianity day to day. And I'm a newbie. This journey began for me about 18 months ago, and as I like to say, my fire got lit in the last 6 months. So I stand here today, a man who feels that inside fire, and that fire is not about words, it's about action. And what I want to talk to you about today is a single question to be asking yourself, which is your faith in action? Or is your faith just words? Is your faith just showing up? Is your faith just being somewhere that says you're supposed to be there? I'm talking about that deep core question of, is your faith something visible to everyone you meet, but you never say a word? I'm a guy that came at the Bible backwards. Most people go read the Bible, learn the Bible, then try and figure out how to apply it. But over the last year, a lot of people I know have come to me and said, Jeff, do you realize the things you're saying and living are in the Bible? I said, no, had no idea. And they showed me, and I'd expect it to be sort of close, and I would read it and say, whoa, that's exactly what I've been saying, and exactly what I've been doing. And the one that comes to mind that came to me first, sharing from others, is Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. But I'm an observant type. What I started observing is, I don't see a lot of sharpening going on. I see a lot of comforting going on. I see a lot of what we believe in our culture will be nice conversations going on. Let me tell you, it's okay. Let me tell you, you're doing good. I know you messed up, but don't beat yourself up. And it's not about beating yourself up. I'm saying, where's the sharpening? And so what I thought about was this, and hopefully you can, not rush out over this. I brought a knife with me. My dad loves knives. My dad, every Christmas, every holiday, every Father's Day, buy him a knife and he's a happy guy. But here's what I learned from my dad about knives. I got this knife here, it's real pretty. But if I ask you if this knife is sharp, what would you tell me? Yeah, you don't know, do you? Now, does it look sharp? Looks sharp. Looks like it should do some damage. And I'm sure I could do something with it. And I'm sure I could accomplish some tasks with it. And I'm sure I could hurt someone with it. But could it really do its job? I don't know. Because I got to put it to work on the fine-tuning. And I thought about a knife, and I thought about how a knife goes dull. And my experience is a knife doesn't go dull because you beat it on a rock. It goes dull, bit by bit by bit, one tiny abrasion, one tiny, not even a chip you can see with your eye, but I use it, or I fail to use it, and it gets an abrasion, and it's just not there to do the job. So how then do I sharpen that knife? Well, sort of the same way, right? I get a stone, and I take that stone, and I regularly and almost continuously rub it against that sharpening stone, and in tiny bits, it gets sharper and sharper and sharper. And that's how I've chosen to live my life. It's sharpening that blade every day, whether it's the blade of my leadership, it's the blade of as my new book talks about what I call living ship. How am I showing up in my life? Who am I committed to be as a person? Who am I committed to be as a business owner, as an employee? Who am I committed to be as a father, as a brother or sister? Have I made commitments in my life? I have made commitments that I can be accountable for. You see, I think we've got an accountability crisis because I lived a life with no integrity, no accountability for most of my adult life until about 4 years ago. And I still have so much work to do on me. But it's 4 years ago when I had an experience what I call I woke up. And I looked around and said, who are you? And look at your behavior. Look at what you're doing. Look at the lives that you have wrecked. All in service of myself. I wasn't serving a higher purpose. I wasn't serving a higher cause. I wasn't serving anyone but me. And yet, people liked me. Because I was successful. And I was fun. And I was engaging. And either they didn't know the truth about me, or they didn't care. Because maybe they liked who I was. And so I attracted people to me, but there was the wrong reason and the wrong people. Because I was living what I consider my shadow life. And I hid my commitments. And I told everybody I was a person of integrity, but I wasn't. And I hid that from everyone. And that's the reason my book is called Unmasked. Because what I realized was that my life was not going to change until I took off all these masks and let people see who I really am. And more importantly, made a decision. And it starts with a decision. And that decision was to stand in front of the mirror and tell the truth to me. To tell the truth to myself. Am I on course or off course? Do I even have a course? Do I even care about the course? And the amazing thing for me is I can stand here and tell you, well, this is driven from my Christian beliefs and my faith, but for me it wasn't. Because what happened is I got on this journey of alignment, of integrity, and said, I don't want to be that guy. I want to be a guy that people can look at and say, his word means something. And when I see him, I see his words lining up with his actions. I see a person of integrity. I see a person who tells the truth. I see a person who sharpens that knife, his own knife. And the cool thing is that I have come to my Christian faith already on that journey. And now it's like an accelerant. And now I don't have to do it alone. I was doing it alone. And I had some success. But it was incomplete and it was imperfect. And I didn't get how it fit together because I was fighting. When I had my most significant experiences with Christ in the last 2 years, both those days, I remember them, I'll never forget them. It was like a war going on. There was a war going on inside me because something wanted more of me, wanted all of me. And I was saying, I ain't ready. I don't know what that's about, but that is not where I am because I'm good. And how often do you walk through the day and say, I'm good? Yeah, I'm good. I think I'm okay. I'm pretty good. And not only do we not have our own personal integrity, but think about the ways that we let each other off the hook. I let myself off the hook. We look around and we say, here's a behavior that doesn't serve you or your family, and I get that you're off course, but I'm going to ignore that. And I'm going to just look the other way, because I don't want you to think I'm rude. I don't want you to think that I'm inconsiderate. I'm going to be silent, even if you're my best friend. I have Christian friends who have shared with me that they don't have friends who will tell them the truth. I say, how is that possible? Well, it's simple. Because we still want to be liked. We still don't want to offend. We don't want to risk those relationships by being honest. But that sharpening can't happen until I'm, number one, honest with myself, and number two, surround myself with what I call challengers. I was telling Tony this morning. I go out, and this is what I call it, I bless challengers. I bless them to say, here I am. I'm going to expose myself to you. I have blind spots and I can't see them. That's why they're blind spots. I need you to help me. I need you to tell me the truth. I need you to ask me hard questions. I need you to see what's going on because I want to know. And then they tell me. And what's critical then is I have to actually hear them. And I have to take action to change it. You know, I was listening to a song the other day, and I won't remember the lyrics, and there's no coincidence because a friend of mine 2 days earlier had mentioned a movie to me, a movie called Courageous, and I had forgotten the conversation. I had it in my notes. And 2 days later, driving through the mountains of Colorado, listening to the radio, because I couldn't listen to my book on CD. So I never listen to radio. I don't listen to music. To me, I don't listen to music. So I started listening to music. I put on a Christian station. And I don't listen to the words because I don't hear that well. I just listen to the music and listen to the tune, to the sound. I don't hear the words, so I don't listen. But in a moment, I started hearing the lyrics. I wasn't listening for the lyrics. Somebody needed me to hear the lyrics. And there were the lyrics from the song by the Casting Crowns for the movie Courageous. And I'll recite them imperfectly, but the lines were something about, where have the warriors gone? We were men who took action, and now we're sitting on the sidelines and letting our friends and our families fall apart. And it's a call to action. Those lyrics are a call to action. It said, are you going to sit on the sideline and watch life go by? Are you going to watch your friends go by? Are you going to let things happen in the world? Or are you going to stand up and say, I am a warrior? That's a word that has a lot of meaning to me. And that started with my own reading. A year and a half ago, I read a book called Wild at Heart, and it lit me up. I read that book, and I remember reading it and saying, whoa, yeah, men are wounded. I was wounded. I was living a life of wounded. And I had no idea. And for the last 5 years, I've been working on those wounds, understanding the wounds. What's the source of the wounds? How do those wounds show up in my life? But the other thing I took from that book was he talked about Christ being a warrior. And I always had this vision of the warrior being violent. And I realized that what he's talking about is Christ was a warrior because Christ had a clear mission and he lived his mission every day. And I said, talk about courage. I've got this mission that's been handed to me. I didn't even create this mission, but I'm going to go live it. And I'm going to go to the cross with this mission, and I'm going to make the sacrifice because that is my mission. That's warrior. And then I found myself 3 months later watching the documentary, The Bible. And I'm watching these characters going, these are all warriors. They had clear mission. So I ask you, do you have a clear mission? And I don't want to hear about your business. I don't want to hear about your vacation plan. I don't want to hear about your bucket list. I want to hear about, you have a mission as to who you're going to show up as a person in this world. Who are you going to be? What are your values? What are they going to be? You know what? I actually don't even want to hear from you. Well, here's the Bible. Here's all my values. I don't know what to do with that. Come to me and say, here is who I am as a person. And this is the person I want you to see every day. And when you don't see it, you come to me and tell me. And when I hear those words from you, my commitment is I'm going to take action to go back to that knife. And I'm going to sharpen. And I'm going to keep sharpening. And I'm not sharpening for me, I'm sharpening because I have a mission in this world. Because I have a role to play, and the world is hurting, the world is lost, people are lost, people are hurting, people are wounded, they're looking for something. And we're giving them things that aren't working. We're giving them answers from this world. We're giving them answers that are words. I had a conversation just about 3 days ago with a friend. And they were talking about the idea of giving it up to God. And I gotta be honest, I hear that a lot. I hear that phrase a lot. But I got a problem. Something doesn't fit for me. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm all about making things make sense. Not logically, but spiritually. Something's off. They said, what's off? I said, well, I hear people saying I gave it up to God. When I look at their life and I said, I don't see you gave anything up. Your life looks like it's a train wreck. You're miserable, you're unhappy. I don't see any peace in your soul. I don't see peace in your eyes. I see you sad. I see you feeling lost. But you gave it up. What's going on? Did you give it up and God didn't deliver? I don't believe that's possible. So maybe you yet. Maybe you didn't give it up yet. Because I'm not sure I know yet what that means. Because I know it doesn't mean do nothing. I know it doesn't mean go out in my hammock and lay down and wait for it to be delivered to me. I know that's not what it's about. You know, here's the way I have learned to give it up to God. Before I stepped up here today, I did what I do every time before I speak, which is I offered up a prayer. And my prayer is always the same. It goes like this. This is not mine. I thought I had this, but it's not mine. You know what I'm supposed to say. I'm now, the word I use, I'm the hollow bone. You bring it, and I'm going to stand up and deliver whatever you tell me is supposed to come. And you're also going to decide who's supposed to hear it, because I don't know, and that's not mine either. That to me is part of me giving it up. I love controlling things until I realized I didn't control anything. I control a couple things. I do control my values, and whether I live them, that's my choice. I control my thoughts except for my immediate reaction to things. I can decide what I think about things and how I think about things, or if I think about things. And I get to decide my choices and my actions. And every day I have choices to make. The question is, what am I doing with that gift of choice? And for a long time, I didn't know I had any choices. I did what I had to do, or I thought I had to do. So ask yourself that question. What are you owning in your life? Are you personally responsible for your life? Most of us aren't. We don't even know we're not. I just wrote an article last week called The Seduction of Helpless. And I think I made some people angry. Because I kind of call them out. I tend to do that. I do call people out on their stories. I am known as the story debunker. And what I said was, if you think you don't love helplessness, ask yourself if you ever say this to yourself. I'm too busy. I don't have enough time. There's too many things on my plate. Or I'll do it someday. Because all of those four things are all versions of I'm helpless. I don't have a choice here. Life is happening to me. I'm stuck. I can't change it. Because as soon as I say that, I'm here and I don't have any hope. Unless something else lucky is going to happen to me. And I don't believe in luck. I believe in divinity. I believe in divine intervention. That's not luck to me. So the question is, are you owning your choices? I see so many people that say, oh, I'm very accountable. Really? Then give me a list of exactly what you're accountable for. Well, I don't have that. Well, how are you accountable? If you can't tell me what you're accountable for, I'm really sure you're not. Now that seems like a harsh standard, doesn't it? The last time I checked, that knife didn't get sharpened by loose commitments and general concepts and vague words about here's how I'm going to live my life. What does it mean? I'm a question guy. Someone says I live my life according to Christ. I will say, what's that mean? Why do you want to know? Well, I'd just like to know what that looks like. How will I know? You want me to decide if you are? You want to tell me what that's about? If you tell me, then I can help you. Because you may say, this is how I want to be. And you know, this idea of unmasked, the other part about this is that we live in a world where we live multiple lives. I'm going to show up this way here today. And I'm going to look good, I'm going to sound good, and you're all going to say, look at that guy. I want to be like him. But then I'm going to leave here and I'm going to go home and I'm going to interact with people I care about maybe in a different way. Or maybe I'm not going to be present for them because I've got busy stuff to do. I got work to do. By the way, that's one of my 5 core values, is being present in the conversations. And it's hard because we live in a culture where most of us aren't very present. We're always in a hurry. We're not there for that moment, that precious moment. And think about the sharpness of a moment, back to the knife analogy. We can't get any sharper than a moment. It's on the edge of a blade. It just happened. And another one just went away, and another, and another. I can't even speak fast enough to keep up with the pace of the moments. So the only thing I have to do to capture the moments is I have to slow down. I have to create space for the moments. I have to create space for God. I can be too busy for God. I can say this is a part of my life, but am I slowing down to make space for God? Am I making space for Christ? Am I making space for change? Or am I going so fast that I don't even know who I am? So that's the invitation I have for you today. To think about, who do you choose to be? And what exactly does that look like? We talk a lot about mentoring in our culture, and I think there's a huge absence of mentoring. I do. I think people need mentors. I think they need business mentors. They need life mentors. In fact, you know what kind of mentor we need more of? How about some blessing mentors? My guess is none of you grew up getting over-blessed. I know I didn't, and it wasn't bad. It's just not how we did things. I'm very aware. I make a purpose to bless people and say, I'm really grateful you're in my life. I'm really grateful we had this time together. I'm blessed to call you a friend. I was blessed by our time together. I was blessed by you being present today. So many simple things we can do to be a blessing. And that is a way of mentoring. But the word I want to leave you with is modeling. And modeling to me is real simple. Who am I choosing to be? And in what ways will I consistently model that for everyone who interacts with me? Because the true test for me is this simple. If I interact with you, and then I say, what did you experience with me? And if you write it down, it should line up with who I say I am. And if it doesn't, then I got some work to do. We all have work to do. I have work to do. Me standing up here today is part of my work. It's part of my calling. It's the reason God put me on this planet. I didn't realize that until recently. I thought it was my calling. It's His calling. I'm just playing a role. So my hope is that each one of you will embrace this idea of sharpening. Whether it's you as a leader, as a partner, as a friend, as a father,